We already know that using an Ethernet cable is the most reliable way to game online, but you'll be surprised at how much that gap has narrowed thanks to eero and Wi-Fi 6. For the wireless connection part of the test, my gaming PC will be wirelessly connected to my second eero Pro 6 acting as the mesh point, which is wirelessly backhauled to the first eero Pro 6 acting as the gateway router. Let's get started with the test in Guilty Gear Strive. We'll start with an Ethernet connection. Since the beginning of the match, every button push and joystick motion feels instant. There is no delay. My latency is floating between 9 to 11 milliseconds, which is near perfect. Anything under 130 milliseconds is playable. For peer-to-peer fighting games like Guilty Gear Strive, I'd recommend below 80 milliseconds. Now, let's switch the connection to wireless. Once again, everything felt instant. There was no delay. My latency on wireless was floating between 14 to 16 milliseconds, which is only about 5 milliseconds more than on Ethernet. My opponent couldn't feel a difference on his end either. Now we switch to League of Legends. This game uses a central server that all players are connected to, unlike Guilty Gear, which used a peer-to-peer connection. When using a server, another player's connection will have zero impact on your own online game experience. There are 10 players in a League of Legends game. Do you think they all have great connections? Definitely not, but it will have no impact on you. I start the first game on an Ethernet connection, and as you can see, my latency sticks around 56 milliseconds. Now you might be saying to yourself, hold on, that's a lot higher than it was in Guilty Gear Strive. Well, in Strive, my opponent was in Seattle, Washington, and I'm located in Oregon. With League of Legends, the United States server is located in Chicago, which is quite a bit further away than Seattle. But as you can see, it really doesn't matter. A game's playable under 130 milliseconds, and I'm floating at 56. Things are looking great, and things are very responsive for me. Now what do you think will happen when we switch to a wireless connection? When on wireless, my latency sticks around 60 to 61 milliseconds, which is only about 4 to 5 milliseconds higher than on Ethernet. The game felt the exact same. There was absolutely no delay for me in moving my character around or using his abilities. And this is thanks in combination to 3 things. True Mesh, a patented technology eero uses that reduces speed degradation. Essentially, it allows data to take the path of least resistance back to the gateway eero. True Tri-Band, which means that eero Pro 6 can freely use any of its 3 available bands for not only backhaul network traffic, but also any client devices connected. The fantastic thing is you don't lose internet connectivity when it has to switch bands. You don't even notice it happening. And lastly, Wi-Fi 6, which offers many benefits on its own, which includes, but aren't limited to, lower latency, better performance at range, and providing better wireless performance when multiple devices are online at the same time. In conclusion, while Ethernet provides the lowest latency and reduced interference for gaming, you won't be able to tell if you were playing on Ethernet or wireless on an eero Pro 6 system. It is that good.